Hi, this is Andrea Kane, and I will be talking to you today about The Language of Medicine, 12th edition by Davy Allen Chabner. This is a book that we will be using to study medical terminology for HSC 114. So hopefully you're in the right place, looking at the right slides. This is for Chapter 1. So we are going to be talking about basic word structure in Chapter 1. In this chapter, our goals are to identify basic objectives to guide your study of the medical language, divide medical words into their component parts, learn the meanings of basic combining forms, prefixes, and suffixes of the medical language, and which combining vowel to use. Then you will use these combining forms, suffixes, and prefixes to build medical words. So let's dive in. What is the first thing we need to know? Well, we're going to be analyzing our words, our medical terminology words, by dividing them into their component parts. We will then relate the medical terms to the structure and function of the human body. And we need to be very, very aware of spelling and pronunciation problems because there are lots of similar sounding medical terms that sometimes you can only discover through the context that they're in. This is a quick quiz. If you want, you can go ahead and write down your answers. So here is a word analysis. We're going to look at hematology. It's pronounced hematology. Hemat has the meaning of blood. O, the letter O, is the combining vowel, and logy is study of. So this word analysis is study of the blood. So a physician who is a hematologist is one who studies the process or studies blood. If you noticed in the last slide, there was a root. It was the foundation of the word. There was a suffix. In this case, there was not a prefix. There was a combining vowel that's usually O, so you can be looking for that. And then the combining form is that root plus combining vowel. So if we go backwards, you can say hemat was the root, O was the combining vowel, and logy was the suffix, hematology. Electrocardiogram, electrocardiogram, electrocardiogram. Do you see that there are two roots in this one? Electro is a root, O is a combining vowel, cardi is a root, O is a combining vowel, and gram is the suffix. Now if we break this down, you're going to see that elector means electricity, cardi means heart, and gram means record. So you're looking at a record recording a record of the electricity of the heart. An electrocardiogram is a record of the electricity of the heart. So let's take a look at gastritis. Gastritis. Gaster is the root, itis is the suffix. In this case, we don't have a combining vowel because if you'll notice the suffix starts with I, the letter I, and that is a vowel. So we don't need a combining vowel there. So gastritis. Itis is inflammation, gastro is stomach, so it's an inflammation of the stomach. Gastroenterology. Gastroenterology. Do you remember what logy meant? We had this a little bit earlier. Gaster was in the previous one. Enter means intestines, and then you have two combining vowels. So let's break it down. We have two roots, two combining vowels, and a suffix. If we break it down, gastro is stomach. It is a root word. You have the O, which is a combining vowel. You have enter, which is another root word, and it means intestines. And then you have O, again, combining vowel. And then you have logi, study, process of study. So the gastroenterology is the process of studying the stomach and intestines. So a gastroenterologist is someone who studies the stomach and the intestines. So there's 3 general rules here. Read the meaning of medical terms from the suffix back to the beginning. So do back to front of the term and across. You're going to drop the combining vowel, which will usually be an O, before a suffix that begins with a vowel. So it'll be gastritis, not gastroitis. Keep the combining vowel between 2 roots. So if you have 2 roots, like gastroenterology, you're going to make sure it's gastroenterology, not gastroenterology. All right? Hypogastric. Now in this one, we get a prefix. Hypo is our prefix. It comes before our root word of gaster. And ic is our suffix. Do you see any combining vowels? No. Hypo is a prefix all by itself, and it has a vowel in it, so we don't need to add one. Ic is a suffix, and it starts with an I, which is a vowel, so we don't need one. So let's take a look at this one. Hypo is the prefix, gaster is the root, ic is the suffix. Hypo means below, gaster means stomach, and ic means pertaining to. So this one would mean it is something pertaining to below the stomach. So when you say hypogastric, it's below the stomach. Epigastric, another one. We have a prefix, epi, and we have the same suffix, ic, which is pertaining to. You have gaster, which we've been talking about, which is stomach, so epigastric. And there's no combining vowels because our suffix starts with a vowel and our prefix ends in a vowel. Epi means above. So instead of hypo, which is below, epi is above or on top of. And so this is pertaining to something that's above or on top of the stomach, epigastric. These are some combining forms that you're going to see in Chapter 1 that you need to get familiar with. So I'm just going to fly through here and leave those for you to take a look at in your book. And here are some more. It'll tell you what they mean, because you'll definitely need to know what they mean to be able to translate them back. So which term means inflammation of the gland? Pop quiz, you can get it. You might have to go back a slide to take a look, but you can get it. All right. Combining forms, here are some more. And there's their meaning. And here are some more combining forms. And there's their meaning. And remember, a combining form is a root plus a combining vowel. So that's why you have the /o there. Which term means study of cells? You might have to go back a slide or two, but I know you can get this. Here are more combining forms. Here are their meanings. Here are more combining forms from your book from Chapter 1. And here are their meanings. Make sure when you're doing flashcards that you understand and do this. And you do want to do the /o, letter O, for the combining form, because you're going to need to know which ones don't end with an O. And you need to get used to seeing that O there, especially if you're going to have a prefix that starts with a consonant. So as you do your flashcards, make sure that you do ONC/O, OPHTHALM/O, ophthalm. That means eye. And that's one of the hardest ones to learn because it's that OPHTH. Those 4 letters don't seem to naturally go together well. So that might be one that you're going to want to focus on if it doesn't come easily to you to spell it and to know it. And this is what they mean. Here are more. And here's what they mean. And here are some more combining forms. You have lots to do in Chapter 1 in terms of learning those. And you'll find that too in Chapter 3, I believe. There are a lot of combining forms that you're going to go through. Chapter 3 is all about suffixes, but they give you a lot along the way. And then Chapter 4 is on prefixes, and they'll cover that too. You'll get plenty of combining forms between now and then. Chapter 2 is really more about anatomy and physiology and helping you understand the planes of the body, the various regions, the quadrants, and things like that. And here are some suffixes you need to start getting used to. Ac, al, alga, site, ectomy. And this tells you what they mean. And one of the things that you're going to want to make note of is that sometimes, as with ac and al, they have the same meaning. So don't be fooled. You need to know that those two are interchangeable in some ways. They mean the same thing. So which suffix means to cut out or remove? You might need to go back, but this should help you. And here's more. Emia, genic, globin, or hemoglobin, that type of thing. Gram, ick, ickle. And here's what it means. I don't know if it will help you, but with globin, you can think of a glob of protein. That might help you with that. And here are more suffixes. And here are those meanings. And some more suffixes. Opsy, osis, pathy, scope, scopy, and their meanings. And here are some more suffixes. Cystomy and e. Y is pronounced E in a lot of cases, so just be aware of that. And these are prefixes. Now, prefixes always go before. Think pre is before, and then suffix is always going to be after. Or if you remember, P comes before S. So P is before, it's a prefix, it's at the beginning. S is at the end, toward the end of the alphabet, so it's probably going to be at the end of a word. And that may help you remember those. And there are their meanings. More prefixes, hyper, hypo. It's really important with pronunciation that you're very careful because hyper, hypo, if you're in a rush, can sound very similar. So you want to make sure that you delineate that, because if you would give a medication for hypertension, say, versus hypotension, that could cause a drug error if it's not heard correctly, written down correctly, those types of things. And this is the meaning for each one. And here are more prefixes. And again, their meanings. And there are some subtle differences here if you notice. That re means back, backward again, and retro is behind. And it's tempting to think that backward and behind can be used together or used interchangeably, and that is not the case. So make sure as you study these, you understand that re is different than retro and what the differences are. So that is all I have for you on Chapter 1, and I will be back shortly with a video on Chapter 2. Study hard. Have a good week. Take care.